John This is the happy hour.
You guys doing a happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Naynard.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good afternoon. Happy Monday. This is the happy hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Rico with you per usual. Rico, what's up?
Hello.
Happy Monday, man. What's up?
Happy post-Super Bowl Monday.
Why is there always like I don't want to say a drag, but just like this lull after the Super Bowl?
Because it's a lot. It's a lot. Whether you're sitting there not doing anything at your house or whether you go out and you were joining us at Buffalo Wings and Rings last night, it's just a lot. It's a lot of your energy going into the game, whether you're rooting for somebody or not. You're watching the halftime show and it's a fun time. Like, it's just a lot. Your body has to process it. You're eating a lot of food. You're drinking, whether you're drinking alcoholic beverages or not. It's just a lot of stuff going into your body. And then when you wake up in the morning, you're just like, I want to keep sleeping. This needs to be a national holiday already. I don't know why they're taking.
We say it every year.
I don't know why they're taking. We say it every
year. Okay, so we're gonna get to a little bit of breaking news here, Rico, because you and I were just talking about it during the break.
Uh-oh.
So the former Husker basketball target in recruiting, Parker Friedrichsen, who ranks 99th overall according to 24/7 Sports basketball recruiting, has asked and received his release from Notre Dame. The reason this came out was because it was announced that head coach Mike Bray was retiring.
Mm-hmm.
So literally a minute ago,
yep,
Rico, you and I were saying, I wonder if, Husker basketball gets back in the ranks with Parker, or he gets back into the conversation for Parker Friedrichsen, because they were a main player throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
Jeff Goodman, who is a basketball analyst at Stadium, that he is one of the, national type of basketball guys, just tweets this out. Let's see what time. At 1:12 p.m., so a minute and a half ago. Big news out of Notre Dame. Mike Bray tells me that he is not retiring. Definitely not done coaching, says Mike Bray. It's great to hear this from one of the best guys in the business. So this is fascinating because I actually just texted one of our buddies, Jacob Bigelow, and I was like, "Hey, have you?" Because he's talked to Parker Friedrichsen a couple times. I was like, "Hey, have you talked to Friedrichsen recently or anything?" He's like, "Nah, I'm meaning too soon, whatever." So on and so forth. And then now this comes out that the reason he requested to be released from his national letter of intent was because Mike Bray was going to retire.
Mm-hmm.
But now Mike Bray's not retiring. So
I looked up Mike Bray retirement. January 19th, 2023, it was announced that he was going to retire. The problem was, and going through this, okay, the university said he was retiring from coaching.
Yes.
The statement that he put out that time, and I'm surprised nobody looked into us, including ourselves. It has been a great run for me and our program over the past 2 decades, but it is time for a new voice to lead this group into the future. He never said anything about he's stepping away from retiring from Notre Dame, stepping away from the program. But in terms of coaching, he never said that he was retiring.
It's more of a push out from Notre Dame, it appears.
Mike and I have talked often. This comes from Notre Dame Insider. Mike and I have talked often in recent years about a future transition in the program's leadership, and during our most recent conversation, we reached the mutual conclusion that the end of this season represented the right time, said athletic director Jack Swarbrick.
Okay. So it was more of a situation to where Mike Bray is done at Notre Dame, and everybody just kind of viewed it as a retirement.
Well,
which is fascinating.
Because Notre Dame said he was retiring.
Bingo.
He never said he was retiring.
So once again,
why didn't we look into this?
The only reason
we just took it for its word.
The only reason I will say that we are even concerned about this at all in the slightest is because Parker Friedrichsen used to be a Nebraska ball target. He was the number one target in the 2024 class. He was, and he's a top 100 player. 6'3", from, I want to say, within the 500-mile radius. I believe he's in Oklahoma.
He's in Oklahoma.
So close enough.
I would say that's about 500. Yeah, it counts.
But if you don't know much about Mike Bray, so he is, let's see, he's obviously at Notre Dame, right?
He's 63.
63 years old, has been at Notre Dame since 2000. All right.
Mm-hmm.
His coaching record in those 23 years with Notre Dame, 482 and 274. Good for a 64% winning percentage over 23 years.
He promised to give Notre Dame, when he was hired in July of 2000, promised to give Notre Dame the only job he ever really chased, 10 good seasons, maybe 15, hopefully more. And he did just that.
Yeah, so you did that. So fascinating stuff from Mike Bray, I guess.
Why did nobody?
I don't know. That's crazy. I'm still kind of in shock. I guess maybe if he decides to continue coaching, Georgetown's an option, because Georgetown and their coach is who I'm blanking on the name. Patrick Ewing, thank you.
He's from Bethesda, Maryland.
He is. So who knows what's going to happen? Somebody, Brad from Baldwin, asked what happened to the recruitment of Omaha Ballou. He is at Iowa State.
Yeah.
He ended up going to Iowa State, which, if you want to talk about, and I've used Iowa State as an example before, TJ Otzelberger is a guy where you look forward for Nebraska. And if things do end up going south for the Huskers, then they can go find a guy like TJ Otzelberger or even Fred Hoiberg. We can use this example for Fred Hoiberg as well. TJ Otzelberger in his first year at Iowa State went 2-22. This year, Iowa State is really, really good. They're a Big 12 player.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. 1 second. Iowa State basketball coach. So yes, TJ Otzelberger, in his second year with the Cyclones, he is. I need to find the official record here, because Iowa State men's basketball page is extremely hard to find. So Iowa State basketball schedule, they are currently 4th in the Big 12 conference and 17-7 overall. So when you sit here and go, what's next for Nebraska men's basketball, whether it's Fred Hoiberg or whether it's somebody else, just quick turnarounds are potential. There's potential for turnarounds there. Since we dove right into some breaking news there, didn't get to say this. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both those will be up for you guys the entire show today. Once again, Nick and Rico joining you per usual. So you can also join us on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Always reach out to us on our personal Twitters, Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. Since we're on a little bit of basketball discussion, Rico, let's go and dive into it here. Nebraska men's basketball, they're sitting now 12-14 overall, and they are 6-9 in the Big Ten Conference. And I don't want to necessarily celebrate a 12-14 record, but you kind of put things into perspective, I guess. And maybe, I don't know if you provide slack. Maybe, I don't know. You guys let me know. 402-464-5685. I don't know if you give slack for what this season is considered, but they're 12-14 and 6-9 in the conference without two of your starters. And I think that if you were to ask somebody in the beginning of the year that a starting five was going to be Sam Griesel, Jamarcus Lawrence, Keisei Tominaga, Wilhelm Breinebach, and Derek Walker, how do you feel about it? You would say, well, why did we go get Emmanuel Bell and Juwan Gary from the transfer portal?
Why are they here to come off the bench?
Exactly. And
not knowing that they got injured.
Yeah, not knowing they got injured. But you're kind of concerned about where the season's at.
Mm-hmm.
You're concerned with the thought and the understanding that Ramel Lloyd Jr. is redshirting, with Coron McPherson, on the bench, sidelined with a knee injury. And CJ Wilcher not necessarily producing as much as we're used to seeing in previous years from him. You're concerned, but somehow, some way, sparked by Keisei Tominaga, sparked by potentially the home crowd, and especially Blaze Keita, who's finally healthy after that ankle injury.
Sparked by the emergence of a spark plug like Sam Hoiberg as well.
You're able to bring some of those guys in dire and crucial situations. Just a couple weeks ago, if you would have told us that Sam Hoiberg would be in the game, intentionally be in the game with 1:47 left in a one-possession ball game in the Big Ten conference schedule, you're a little concerned. And that's nothing. That's no slight against Sam Hoiberg. That's just being realistic.
If you're looking at the roster and you're looking at Sam Hoiberg to make probably the defensive play of the game at the end of the game in overtime, you're probably not thinking that's going to happen.
But here you are, and Nebraska is able to come back from 17 down against a above 500 team in Wisconsin and win and gut out a Big Ten conference game that once it hit about the 10-minute mark in the second half, it wasn't necessarily – you kind of felt the tide turning to where it was like, all right, Nebraska's going to win this game. And then once overtime started, they just kept on pulling away, which is, once again, something we have not seen from teams do this year.
You look at Nebraska down double digits against a team as defensively – as good defensively as Wisconsin is. If Nebraska, who struggles offensively from time to time, is down by double digits, you're not looking at this as a comeback victory. You're looking at this as, okay, how close is Nebraska going to get before they run out of gas, because they're using all of their energy to come back. But Wisconsin, also offensively challenged from time to time, hit a cold streak at the perfect time that Nebraska hit themselves a hot streak.
100%.
And it lined up perfectly for Nebraska to tie the game up, head to overtime. And as you said, finish out a game, which is something that they have struggled with for quite some time, not just this year, but years prior. Ending halves and ending games has been a struggle for Nebraska men's basketball for quite some time. And they were able to put things together with a lineup that at the beginning of the season, if you would have told me this was the lineup, I would have looked at you sideways, because there's no way that should have happened. But you got two major injuries happening. You finally get Blaze Keita back from his high ankle sprain. Speaking of high ankle sprains, but and he's able to give you some invaluable minutes. Maybe he's not scoring the ball at a high level, but the defense that he was able to provide, the rebounding he was able to get, and just the size inside, altering shots, whether he's getting a hand on it or not, just the fact that he's in there and allowing Derek Walker to play probably a more natural floor position for him was fantastic. The two big lineup that Fredo Hoiberg said that they were experimenting with before Blaze got injured, and then after he came back and he was able to practice with them, that might be the lineup going forward, because it looked amazing.
So looking forward for Husker men's basketball here, they travel to Rutgers tomorrow night and play, I believe, the 24th team in the country, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, at the Rack at 7 p.m. That one's going to be on Big Ten Network. Then if you look ahead, so
isn't it the Jersey Mike Center now?
It could be. It's always going to be the Rack. But either way, tough place to play out in Piscataway. But looking past Rutgers here, you have 3 home games: Maryland, Minnesota, and Michigan State. And looking at the days that those games are on are interesting to me, because you wonder about crowd, you wonder about people showing up. Maryland on a Sunday, Minnesota on a Saturday, Michigan State on a Tuesday. Now, the 2 weekend games, good crowds. I'm not worried about that one bit. Michigan State, it's senior night. I think people show up for that as well.
Is it going to be late?
It's 8 p.m.
Oh, people show up.
Because you have Sam Griesel, you have Derek Walker, 2 of your most important and fan favorites, 2 of the nicest guys that you'll ever meet on the court as well.
Well, I don't know about on the court, but off the court, yeah. I don't know how nice they are on the court.
So, and if we want to play hypothetical,
that's always a fun game.
They finish then out the season the following Sunday, March 5th at Iowa. Now, if you want to play hypothetical here, Nebraska, if they go 3-2 in their final 5 games, they will be 15-16 overall. They will be 9-11 in the conference. In a Big Ten conference that is, I should say, it's not top heavy this year.
It's weird.
it's inverted because you have a team like Northwestern at the top. You have, I mean, Purdue's used to being at the top, obviously, but they just got knocked off by Northwestern. Wisconsin is down near the bottom. No, Wisconsin is one spot above having to play on Wednesday.
Oh.
So they are, what is it, eighth?
Eighth? Yeah.
Wisconsin's eighth. Nebraska is currently sitting in 10th place in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like,
Minnesota
once again,
and Ohio State are the bottom two.
Yep. And then Penn State is one spot above Nebraska. You wonder, I don't know how other teams' schedules shake out, and we don't necessarily have time for that, but you wonder that if Nebraska is able to win just their 3 home games remaining against Maryland and Minnesota, those are the 2 more winnable games.
Yeah.
And then Michigan State. What can happen?
But if you don't get that one, Iowa, you've already beaten Iowa. I know it's at Iowa.
It's Iowa, at Iowa.
I know it's at Iowa. But, things can happen.
Now, if Nebraska's able to upset Rutgers tomorrow night,
that's a lot.
Little Red's going to be bouncing on his head.
100%.
And I will be there for it.
Like, good teams struggle going to Rutgers. Even if Rutgers is a bad team, you go to Rutgers and there's some type of – it's like Kinnick at night.
Mm-hmm.
There's weird things happen in the rack.
Yeah, just crazy stuff happens. So, I don't know. Like, that's just hypothetical to think about. What's your reaction? What's your takeaway from Nebraska if they're able to go 3-2 in these last 5 games? You sit there with a 15-16 record at the end of a regular season, potentially playing on Wednesday, but you're the higher seed.
Yeah.
So it's either Nebraska's like the 9 plays the 12, which would be Minnesota, or Nebraska's the 10 playing the 11, which would be Ohio State. How do you feel about those guys in day 1 of the Big Ten tournament when you're supposed to be the better one?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, and then you throw in everything else that you're in first year of new assistant coaches, Adam Howard and Ernie Ziegler. And then you've been without 2 of your starters since that it was Penn State. So for the last 2 months of the season, you were without 2 of your starters. I guess, excuse me, month.
Yeah.
Last month, because Emmanuel Bandamel would have. No. Emmanuel Bandamel got hurt at Penn State, correct?
Juwan got hurt a game or 2 before that home against Illinois.
Yep. So Juwan Gary got hurt January 10th. Emmanuel Bandamel got hurt 11 days later on January 21st. So you've been without 2 of your starters since January 21st, and you still figured out a way to compile a 15-16 record and a 9-11 Big Ten record.
I mean, with both of those 2 at the beginning of the season, we were saying around 500 would keep Fred his job more than likely, depending on how it looks.
I don't know.
I think without 2 of your starters, getting to around 500 is very impressive.
Yeah. So somebody on the text line says you're smoking crack. LOL. Are we?
We're not smoking crack. We're just giving you hypotheticals.
The 3 home wins.
They're not. Maryland is a better team than Nebraska, but they're not a great team. You've already beaten Minnesota's not a better team than Nebraska. Michigan State, yeah, that one's a tall order, but it's senior night. It's a night matchup inside PBA, which should be rocking if Nebraska is able to take care of business leading up to that game. And you have a chance to be at or around 500 still. That place will be crazy. So, I mean, anything can happen, but we're not saying they are going to happen.
Well, no, here's the thing. I remember sitting there after that Purdue game on the road at Purdue ahead of the Ohio State game. And I said, guys, what if Nebraska is able to win the rest of their home games? And rightfully so, you guys probably call me crazy. But to this point, they beat Ohio State. They lost Northwestern, but that's not a knockoff win or loss. Like that's whatever. It's not a good loss. Squad. It's a good Northwestern squad. And then they beat Penn State at home and now beat Wisconsin at home. For the most part, take away that Northwestern Illinois game, especially the Illinois game. Take away that one, and you could, just for fun, equal out the win against Iowa and the loss against Northwestern, because you beat Iowa by 16 at home, you lose to Northwestern by 15 at home. You have the Illinois loss, but then do you have another loss? You don't have another loss at PBA. You've lost 2 games at PBA all year against the top of the league talent. And so now 2 middle of the road Big Ten teams and a potentially the worst Big Ten team in the conference come to town late in the season. I don't think it's out of the possibility. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. If they win 2 or 3 more, you sit there going, all right, Nebraska was 2 games or 1 or 2 games below 500 this season. How can we get pissed at that when you don't have 2 starters since January 21st? When nobody was picking Nebraska to be in the top 4 of the league this year.
No.
Nobody was picking, nobody was. We were all saying, hey, just get through day 1 of the Big Ten tournament.
Mm-hmm. We were saying it'd be great to have a first-round bye in the Big Ten tournament.
Get to the NIT.
And that's not even being 5th. That's being 8th or 7th. Very middle of the pack.
I don't know. I don't know what people's thoughts are going to be. And a basketball fan texted, you guys also look at who all could come back next year. It could be a good core of guys. It's interesting. Kevin in Southwest Lincoln, if the Huskers win 2 more games, it'll be a miracle. They were very lucky against Wisconsin and have yet to do anything on the road in the Big Ten. And you're right, Kevin. I mean,
that's why we're saying home games, right. Not on the road.
Just need to win. If they win the final 3 road home games, then I'm not chalking it up as a success, but taking into account that they've been without 2 of their guards for about 2 months now, it'll be about a month and a half at the end of the year that they've been without 2 starters, all in Big Ten play. I don't know. 15-16 doesn't seem too much of a failure in my eyes, in considering all things. Let's take a break. Super Bowl talk when we come back on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Finger and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You finally finished your man cave in the basement. Brand new furniture, huge TV, and all of your collector's items. You're ready for football season. You were so excited until one bad rain and it is all ruined. Don't risk the flooded basement and countless dollars in damages when it can be avoided. Call John Henry's today for a free sump pump estimate for your home.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air. 9 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brent is the place to call. Set up a quote or learn more. Call Brent Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrentExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brent Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Red.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. I'm Steve Carpet. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. I'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Flowers and chocolates are great for Valentine's Day. But you know what really earns you bonus points? A massage. No, not from you, but from the professionals at the Body Shop. Now is the time to purchase a gift certificate for your significant other to make sure you're the big winner this Valentine's Day. Go to thebodyshoplincoln.com and select from their variety of specific massages. Once you've purchased, you can either print out the certificate or email it to the lucky recipient. Do Valentine's Day right this year with a massage from the Body Shop at 48th and A.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, general plumbing, water heaters, faucets, fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-617. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. It's
Perfect sunny skies and very mild temps here to start off the work week. We'll top out near 60 this afternoon. South winds eventually, though, could gust 25 to 30. Increasing cloud cover tonight with a low of 41. We'll see a chance of showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder during the day tomorrow, and a high of around 50. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast bread. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't until January or February.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. Get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. Let's put numbers together. Let's get a budget put together. And let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique. 37 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick and Rico with you. Just a reminder, forgot to mention this on the backside of that men's basketball discussion. The Husker women have a big game this Saturday against the Iowa Hawkeyes. The new AP poll was released earlier today. Iowa comes in 7th in the country. And so Nebraska, who is going to need every win that they can muster up to get to maybe solidify the their opportunity at an NCAA tournament berth, needs your help. Trying to sell out PBA for the first time for a women's basketball game. Last year's home game at Iowa was electric.
That was awesome.
And then on the road at Iowa last season, Alexis Markowski started 6 of 6 from beyond the arc. Nebraska ended up losing, unfortunately, at Iowa. And then this season, Nebraska had a lead late in the game against Iowa, lost by 5 on the road at the Hawkeyes. So if you know anything or pay attention to any collegiate basketball to a certain extent, you'll know the name Caitlin Clark, who is electric. Now, I will say, I'll be honest, Rico, pain in the butt. I hate it. She is a pain in your side, and you don't like cheering for her. I don't enjoy playing against her,
but man,
because she does these things that are super annoying that makes you just yeah. But then you recognize talent when you see it. She's exceptional.
I hate it because she's so good. Like she is amazing, and that's what's so annoying is because she is so good. But their last game, Iowa, just for anybody they beat Rutgers 111-57.
Jeez. 111-57.
I'm gonna find Caitlin Clark's. I'm looking at the box right now because I just want to see what she did, because obviously they do something like that. She must have had a fantastic game. She's like a walking triple double, pretty much. So Caitlin Clark in that one, only 15 points, 10 assists. She only shot the ball 7 times.
Yeah,
that is very unusual. She played 20. She played 20 minutes.
Doesn't need to play very often.
15 points, 10 assists, 3 steals, 4 rebounds. 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 of 7 from the field, only 20 minutes, and then everybody else played the game.
So last time it was Caitlin Clark, unfortunately, has had her way against Nebraska.
Yeah.
So she's scored in the last 5 meetings. She has scored over 30 points in every single meeting. She in the Big Ten tournament last season, Nebraska. This was the Big Ten championship, actually. Caitlin Clark ended up, or maybe it was the semis. I can't remember. Nebraska had that miraculous run in the Big Ten tournament last year. That I can't remember. I'm pulling up a YouTube video to know the details. But Caitlin Clark went off for 41 points and 10 rebounds in the Big Ten tournament semifinal against Nebraska last year, when Iowa was the 2 seed. And so once again, Caitlin Clark, Aaron texted says she's sponsored by Nike. If that tells you anything, if you want to read into it, she's exceptional to watch. She's extremely talented.
She'll be a top 5 WNBA.
Yeah, if you know anything about women's college basketball, recognize names. It's better than Sabrina Ionescu. Right up there with Sabrina Ionescu.
She's up there. She ain't better.
Really?
She ain't better.
Okay.
She ain't better than
This
Sabrina.
is interesting.
She ain't better than Sabrina.
This could be a conversation because Iowa fans would say differently.
I know they would. And Oregon
Iowa
fans
fans are
differently.
annoying.
And Oregon fans would say Sabrina. I'm still going to lean Sabrina.
Okay. Lean Sabrina.
She was doing things that I ain't never seen before.
Caitlin Clark's hitting half court. That's one thing. If she's in a groove, she will pull up from the logo and hit it.
If anybody remembers, I'm sure a lot of you do. I mean, even if you didn't watch the NBA, you know this. That those couple of years where Steph Curry was at his peak.
Yeah.
Where it was as soon as he passes half court, you need to guard him. That is Caitlin Clark right now. If she has the ball and she's bringing it up, you meet her at half court. Because if you don't, if you give her space, she'll pull it. And her coach is fine with it.
Yeah.
Because she'll make them routinely.
Yeah, she's fun to watch, pain in the butt. Also, a little bit of Nebraska connection. Fremont grad Taylor McCabe is currently playing at Iowa. And if you listened to any of the state broadcasts last night, you'll recognize the name Taylor McCabe. She was an exceptional athlete. Just a 5'9" freshman at Iowa right now. She was the 78th best player in the country last year coming out of high school. This season, averaging 4.5 points per game. She's played in 12 games for the Hawkeyes, and like I said, averaging 4.5 points per game. But seeing times she dropped 12 points. This a new career high, 12 points on February 12th against Rutgers in that 111-57 win in 17 minutes of play. Now, the reason people always ask last year, why did Taylor McCabe go to Iowa? For the woman that we just talked about, Caitlin Clark. She's learning behind Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, she's learning from Caitlin Clark.
So there you go.
For a guard, pretty good person to learn from.
Yeah, and that's no slight against Nebraska. So, okay, let's talk about the Super Bowl. We got into it, or not got into it.
We discussed it.
Got pretty passionate this morning on the drive regarding the officials and all that. And my belief and my thought stays the same. Nick Sirianni also said post game that, listen, one game doesn't get decided on one call. And he was the one that said that. So I have a tough time.
He said if one call determines the game, we as coaches did not do our job.
And I sit here and I still get frustrated because I don't like I'll kind of reiterate what I said this morning.
Good.
I don't like the moment that it was called, but I get frustrated because what are the officials supposed to do? And what are the officials doing? What's their approach to officiating a game? Because what I mean by that is, do you want it to sometimes be a judgment call, or do you want it to sometimes be, if it's a penalty, it's a penalty, call it? Because we can't have both sides in my eyes. You have to either have a judgment, then you want to say call the game the same all 4 quarters. That's fine. Then if you want to call the game for all 4 quarters the same, you shouldn't have thrown the penalty there.
Mhm.
But then you have the defensive back Bradbury for Philadelphia and Nick Sirianni both saying that that's a penalty and admitting that they committed a penalty.
Bradbury saying, "I thought I'd get away with it."
Yeah, he wanted to get away with it.
It's been happening all game.
Just give consistency and give fans an insight of what is how do you guys operate. If you want it to be a complete judgment call for all 4 quarters, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Then do all 4 quarters like it's a judgment call. But if you want all 4 quarters, if it's a penalty, it's a penalty. Call it. That's fine. Just follow that. And we can't get mad then. If everybody's on the same page, you can get mad, but getting mad doesn't do a whole lot of good because coming into the game, it was, hey, listen, you knew that they were going to call whatever's penalty, whether there's 2 minutes on the game clock, whether there's 14 minutes on the game clock, they're going to call penalty a penalty.
Now, my take, and I said this on the water cooler, is I understand. I'm also upset that it was called in that moment, but hey, that's the call. It's the right call.
Yeah.
It's the call that should have been made, and it was made. My thing is the ref, like kind of what you said, damned if they do, damned if they don't, because he makes that call. Everybody's mad at him. Whatever happened, that's a terrible call. Yada yada yada. But if that same thing would have happened, let's say that same thing happens, the same exact play, and they replay it multiple times, he doesn't make the call. The Chiefs miss the field goal. The Eagles go down and score. It's the same, but on the opposite side. The Chiefs fans are upset that the call wasn't made. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like you said, you want a judgment call, you want it by the letter of the law. By the letter of the law, that was a defensive holding. And I understand it was a pretty clean game up until then. Not a lot of penalties called. And there wasn't a defensive holding called on the defensive backs all game. That's the first one that they called.
Yeah.
They probably could have had one earlier on Juju. I think it was in the second quarter when he's coming across the middle and kind of got tackled. They could have called defensive holding or a pass interference there. They didn't. They called it there. Again, it's the right call. James Bradbury held. He admitted he held. And like Sirianni said, and kind of what I'm trying to get at is there are multiple other plays in this game that could have prevented that from happening. There are other plays in this game that could have taken the decision for the game out of the ref's hands. The number one thing is don't allow a 64-yard punt return. If the Eagles don't allow that, we're not in this situation. They pin Kansas City deep. Maybe they still go down and score. Who knows? But they got 64 free yards off a punt return. Didn't have to run a single offensive play.
Yeah, once again,
maybe double cover Travis Kelce. I don't know.
It's that simple, that easy bailout of just don't get outscored in the second half. Don't get outplayed in the second half, or don't blow a 10-point lead at the half. Like
there's so many things.
Those are the easy cop outs. But I guess when we look at officiating specifically, and unnamed texter's got a good point. Refs waited until the biggest moment of the game to call the first defensive hold in the game. And I don't know, maybe I'm way too. I'm looking through it with rose-colored glasses, I guess, and being like, I don't know, like in that moment, is the referee looking at that being like, in that split second, going right when he sees a holding, he's throwing the penalty with it in mind of there's only a minute and a half left.
Oh, this will help Kansas City.
Like I and maybe I'm way off on that. I don't know. I don't know if it's a coincidence type of thing. I don't know. I understand roughing the passer. We've seen a lot of those calls with Tom Brady, even with Patrick Mahomes and things like that. Then Joe Burrow was getting lit up, and there was no calls on Joe Burrow. So, we've seen that the differential in that. But this is such a split-second decision, I think, that I sit here and go, is the official really in that moment going, this is going to change the game. Here we go. Let's throw a flag because it's going to give Kansas City the edge.
I'm gonna throw this.
I don't know.
Kansas City's gonna kneel it 3 times and they're gonna win the game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just Kent says this on the text line 402-464-5685. Then we'll get to break and get to the crossover here in a second. Kent says this: Chiefs scored on every series in the second half. Eagles gave the Chiefs a free touchdown. If I was an Eagles fan, and I'm not, the biggest complaint I would have was the quality on the field. Eagles had the best pass rush in the NFL and 0 sacks last night. I have to believe that field was part of it. D-line could not get a decent push. And that's the thing is, if the officials decide to make a judgment call, or if fans want the officials going forward throw penalties on judgment calls. That's fine. You just can't get pissed when the officials decide a game. And so here you are. You can't get pissed when they call a penalty, no matter what juncture of the game, whether there's 14 minutes left or 2 minutes left. You can't get mad, because I understand there's passion involved, but it's be consistent in what you want. You can't have them call the game judgment-wise for 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter when your team's losing or about to lose, get mad when they call a penalty on a judgment call. And so that's where they're never going to get it right. They're never going to get it perfect, in my eyes.
The human error is part of it.
Here we are.
Unfortunately.
It's the exact same way in baseball. I hate. Well, let me wrap up.
Robot officials.
Let me wrap up the Super Bowl real quick.
Yeah.
I did not like the way that it was called. I did not like the fact that they called the penalty at the end of the game. But how am I supposed to sit here and tell them they shouldn't have called that penalty when you have the defensive back that was called for the penalty saying, I tried to get away with a penalty, and the head coach going, yeah, listen, there's not one call doesn't dictate the entire game. I don't know how I'm supposed to sit here and be like, yeah, even though they admitted to playing, to commit a penalty, they should have just let him play.
Like even before Bradbury said it, look, that I said it. That's a hold. I'm sorry, but it is. You didn't get away with it. Maybe you got away with it earlier in the game. You didn't get away with it then.
And they changed the rules every offseason. They adjust the rules for what constitutes pass interference, what constitutes a fumble, like they possession, all that. So who knows what changes they're going to make in the offseason, but it's just hard for me personally, and I get that if you're saying, Nick, you're an idiot here, that's okay. But it's hard for me to sit here and be like, damn it, they shouldn't have called that penalty. They shouldn't have thrown the flag because it was 2 minutes left in the game. Even though we have multiple people saying that it was a penalty, multiple experts and the player playing the game saying it was a penalty, I don't know how we're supposed to sit here and say, yeah, just because it was a penalty, technically, you shouldn't call it in that situation. But if that instance occurred 10 minutes earlier, yeah, where's the flag? That's a hold. It's defensive holding. I just, it's confusing. It's interesting. It's a fascinating conversation. Let's take a break. Get to the crossover coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app. Just and live day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ever think of having a career in plumbing or heating? Do you enjoy watching your favorite game in a nice, comfortable space? Taking a shower after a warm day? Well, everyone we serve at Biggerstaff Plumbing, Heating, and Air sure does. If you're interested in a career in plumbing, heating, and air, come join our team where you'll get paid while training. No experience required. Enjoy great pay and benefits in a friendly environment. Call Biggerstaff Plumbing, Heating, and Air at 402-466-8118 or apply online at biggerstaffs.com.
I think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. Get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. Let's put numbers together. Let's get a budget put together. And let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Max 10 for men. Bye-bye golfer lines and t-shirt 10s. Take it to the max at Max 10. Get a 30-day pass, just $25. The stand-ups and laydowns for men of stature. Be a Max 10 man. Get 30 days for just $25 now at all 4 Lincoln Max 10 locations.
Listen up, guys. Valentine's Day is almost here, and it's 3rd and goal, and we need a touchdown, not a field goal. You need a personal florist so you don't drop the ball. And Petal Creations can be the MVP for you this year by helping you impress the lady in your life with a heart box of love display of roses. Trust me on this one, this play call will result in a touchdown. Call Petal Creations today to reserve your flowers at 402-423-6500 or go to petalcreations.com.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher, Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate, is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Vershawn Jackson for Brant Excavating. Brant's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brant is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brant Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrantExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brant Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go big Brant.
You're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right here in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for a research opportunity. If you qualify, you can earn up to $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/500.
Flowers and chocolates are great for Valentine's Day. But you know what really earns you bonus points? A massage. No, not from you, but from the professionals at the Body Shop. Now is the time to purchase a gift certificate for your significant other to make sure you're the big winner this Valentine's Day. Go to thebodyshoplincoln.com and select from their variety of specific massages. Once you've purchased, you can either print out the certificate or email it to the lucky recipient. Do Valentine's Day right this year with a massage from the Body Shop at 48th and A.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. On July 16th, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is transitioning to 988. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, paired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez-Clary. Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Happy Hour, the ticketfm.com. Eric Strickland and Austin Orman join us now. Gentlemen, happy Monday. Happy Monday. Okay, so we opened up the show with this because we weren't expecting to talk about Mike Bray at the top of the hour. We were expecting to just dive into Husker basketball. But here's what's fascinating. So there's been a little bit of clarification here. And it's, although Notre Dame said at the top of the hour that, or excuse me, back months ago when they announced that Mike Bray was going to retire, they Notre Dame said the word retire. Mike Bray never said the word retire.
So it was on, let me find this again. I posted the article that when he was retiring, January 19th. Notre Dame said he is going to retire, but in the article, he never mentions retiring. It's just a lot of veiled, like, I will be at Notre Dame next year type comments.
So now clarification. So just a timeline of events. You had that, and then you had two of the top two recruits from Notre Dame get asked to be released from their NLI. One of them was Husker basketball target Parker Friedrichsen, and who is the 99th best player in the country according to 24/7 Sports, 6'3" guard. So he has been officially released from his NLI, and now it comes out from Jeff Goodman that Mike Bray tells me that he is not retiring. He is definitely not done coaching. So he is done at Notre Dame. Notre Dame thought he was retiring, or at least framed it that way. Mike Bray says, "Hold up, wait a minute, I'm not done coaching." It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, that's. I won't say it's like overly controversial, but
No,
it's definitely confusing.
Well,
It
yeah,
sparks a lot of confusing discussion.
it's a bad look on Notre Dame. It's a horrible look on Jack Swarbrick. Thank you. Horrible look on Notre Dame to come out and be like, "Yeah, he's retiring," and make that call for him. And he's comes back 2 months later, a month later, and goes, "Wait a minute, I'm not done coaching."
Yeah, those have to be backroom discussions with
Yeah.
clarity and understanding for you to lay that out as that's the framework of the discussion.
And that needs to happen before you.
Wow, gifts.
Gifts.
Tricky has never really got gifts, but my man, DP. Yes, sir. That's what we do here on the
True.
ticket.
It's true. Just like that.
DP, I appreciate it.
We got it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
we
that's
didn't
everybody.
look at the shoes. We didn't look at the size. Yeah, they're sweet.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, they're sweet.
Oh yeah.
Man, those are some big ones. Those are some big shoes.
You think I could put my son in that and float him across the lake?
Those are some big shoes there, Streaky. But no, that's what's crazy is that I mean those are conversations that, like you said, Strick, need to happen before you release a statement. Those are discussions that need to be settled and like you said, clarity. And that's a really bad look to not burn a bridge when this guy's coached there for 23 years and compiled like a 64 winning percentage.
Go ahead. Austin.
If you part ways, you say that after the season. If he was
Yes.
actually retiring,
Yes.
okay, let it go. You can have a little retirement tour.
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe they were on the same page at one time. But if Mike Gray changed his mind, or if you thought there was even like a 10% chance he changes his mind,
Yeah.
you've got to play it.
Yeah, because
The Notre Dame tweet, like literally, is just like thanking him for everything he's done. And I understand, it could be framed as oh he's stepping down, but it just read of oh he's done retiring. He took over at Notre Dame in 2000. He's been there for 23 years. You would think oh he's going to retire. He's 63, 64 years old, but it's just no. I'm just done coaching here. Like maybe I'll go somewhere else. Maybe, but he's not done coaching. So just the way that Notre Dame framed it made it seem like he was done.
Yeah, the way Notre Dame framed it.
Exactly. He never
That's the
mentioned
kicker, and that's fascinating.
he never came out publicly and said he was retiring.
Yeah.
In the articles you read, he just keeps saying, I think it's time for new leadership.
Yeah.
Well, things get stale. After 23 years, things get stale.
I think what can happen in these situations is very similar to what can happen on staffs or in organizations. What we call it in as players, we call it voice genesis. And what you don't want is a voice genesis going around. For example, the way that you treat somebody. I think we've kind of talked about it briefly in the way that you treat people, that the word gets out that, you're not taking care of your own. It happened for the Mavericks. I know in some reasons why they couldn't land certain players is because other players are talking. And that's what you don't want. You don't want that to get in the Notre Dame program that, they don't take care of. I mean, like 23 years.
That's a long time.
That he put in work for that university on top of winning and some success and so forth and so on. So you don't want that getting around, especially in a state that's already, pretty tough to recruit, where you've got Purdue now and you've got a lot of success out of Indiana. And
Butler's
you
been
don't
up
want
and
that.
down.
Yeah, you don't want that. So.
All right, we got about a minute left here. Let's go around and rate the halftime show 1 to 10. Rihanna, go ahead, Rico.
9.5.
Okay.
6.
Okay.
5.5.
I'm going 8 because the songs that she sang were just.
I was singing.
I
How
was.
many
I
did she
found
end up
myself.
saying? Did I win the money?
I don't know.
She went over
I
8.
haven't
She
done
went
a
over
set
8.
list. I'm looking for it.
I think she went over 8.
It was like a 13-minute performance, right?
It was fantastic.
I thought it was a good one.
Then she announced that she was pregnant, like unofficially,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
crazy.
officially after the game. Fantastic.
Good singing, boring performance.
Okay, yeah, but I don't think he needs
I
some
agree.
extravagant.
You don't have to, but
I like
Like,
the
that's why I like.
simplicity.
That's why I like the national anthem. It's simple. Just keep it simple.
I like the simplicity, but it is the Super Bowl. Maybe a little more.
All right.
That's why 9.5.
She's pregnant. I thought maybe they were going to do a gender reveal.
Oh, that would have been
Ooh.
great.
That would have been epic.
All right.
All right, we're done for today. On the block, Strick and Austin coming up next. See ya.
Adios.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also